Paranormal Survivor. Interview with Wendy Laycock. Take one.
We moved into our home in 2009. It was a beautiful area.
It has a half-acre of property, very mature trees. It's just a very quiet setting.
Wendy and Glenn would soon discover their new home was not as perfect as it first appeared.
The first day we moved in, Glenn went down to check the furnace room.
You were hearing things. I was about to walk out of the basement, and the door slammed in my face. It slammed so hard that the actual frame of the door rattled. Half a step more, and I would have actually caught that door full on in the face.
Glenn, what happened?
He came up, and he was visibly shaken, and he said, "Someone just slammed the door on me."
Are you okay?
It just forced him backwards.
Door slammed right in my face.
At the time, I made a joke saying, well, like, I guess the house is haunted. The door just slammed in my face. Ha ha, we laughed about it because I couldn't explain it. The door slam was sort of the start. I was kind of, okay, looking at what else is going on here.
All right.
Hey, what about the trains?
One evening, I just stood up from the couch to go to the kitchen. And I just stopped. And Wendy said, "What's wrong?" I said, "There's an old lady standing in our kitchen." She was kind of stooped, had long grayish hair, older style frumpy dress, eyes were black.
He says, "Don't you see her?"
There's an old lady in her kitchen.
And I said, "Who?" He says, "The woman in the kitchen." He said she was standing right there.
There was an old lady.
By the time it took me to look at Wendy, to tell her that, to look back, she was gone. There was no one there.
I knew that he was visibly shaken, but I didn't see anything, so I just assumed something was playing tricks with him.
Disturbed by the strange activity in his new home, Glenn asked around about its history.
A person we know lived at a seniors building. They had actually known one of the previous owners.
Can I help you? What's this?
And they brought over a photo. And the photo was the exact woman that I had described in her kitchen. It was one of the previous owners. She'd passed away. I said, "Do you want to come in?" He goes, "I'm not coming in there."
Spirits return from the dead regularly. Just because they pass away doesn't mean they're giving up the land. Maybe there's unfinished business. Maybe they don't know they're dead, therefore they're still living in the house.
After our grandson Colton was born, our daughter Anna and her husband moved into the house with us, and they were going to rent the basement apartment to save money for their home.
And with this new arrival came a new intensity of activity.
time to time, we would babysit our grandson just to give our daughter and her husband a chance to take a break, to get out for the evening.
It's time for bed.
This crib had a mobile hanging over top of it and also some toys hanging on the bars. And they would go off. We'd be upstairs and we'd hear music playing in the basement. So we would go downstairs, and as soon as you stepped over the threshold of the door into the baby's room, everything was shut off. Then we thought, we'll remove the batteries from the mobile, from the toys. And they would still go off.
Glenn and I just stood there looking at each other like, what is going on?
We began to hear voices. The first, it was just sort of syllables, random syllables. And then
It was a man's voice.
we would hear laughing. It was not a nice laugh.
As soon as we heard the laugh, we ran. I thought for sure there was someone in our home. I thought for sure there was someone beside Colton. And I got to him and there's no one there. We were kind of in shock and disbelief at the time. I stayed with Colton that night. There was no way he was sleeping downstairs in that room by himself. I stayed there until they got home.
That didn't put a stop to the strange activity in Colton's room.
One night, Colton's father was in the room with him.
There was a rocking chair they had beside the crib.
How's he doing?
He's doing all right.
The rocking chair was rocking back and forth. And then it would stop. And then it would start to rock again. So my son-in-law pulled out his phone and videotaped it. This went on for quite some time.
The whole thing with the rocking chair was unsettling. Everyone started getting a little on edge, and things were escalating.
Spirits will often focus their attention on babies and young children. If it's a negative entity, it could be there to take energy from the child, from the baby. It's a very dangerous situation.
Fearing for Colton's safety, Wendy and Glenn's daughter and son-in-law
My house didn't seem safe anymore. It just didn't feel like it was home.
After my daughter and her family moved out, I gutted the basement.
We just wanted it changed, thought maybe it'll go away and leave us alone.
but altering the basement had the opposite effect.
After I did the reno, things were happening on a much more regular basis. The crying at night.
Conversations, crying, laughing.
Did you hear her?
It was just like the whole house had woke up.
It was just constant noise.
It was like somebody was really upset.
spirits were getting stronger. And Wendy became their target.
In the mirror, I could see bruises, a huge hand mark on my elbow. And I put it up closer to the mirror, and I'm like, those are fingers. That's a hand mark. Like, what happened?
I put my hand over top of it, and it was a hand that was larger than mine. We just couldn't believe it. It was just huge. There was like the fingerprints and the thumbprint on the other side. It was like something had grabbed her arm.
Wendy's nighttime injuries were only the start.
It just felt like someone had their hand on the middle of my back, and it just pushed me straight downward. I just went head first into the hallway. Someone pushed me. I was like, what happened to me?
When Wendy was pushed, my reaction was anger. Something has attacked my wife. How do you fight back against that?
That was the last straw. I was done. I'd had enough of the house.
We were both shaken up about it, and that's when we made the decision, this stops now. This really needs to stop now.
Wendy and Glenn called in paranormal investigator Linda Quirino and her team for help.
When I entered the home for the first time, I sensed definitely that there was a very charged atmosphere. It felt very heavy, and it did feel that there was something lurking. A spirit has to be very powerful in order to actually grab or to create bruises of some kind or to push them.
There was real concern for Wendy's safety.
We had our K2 EMF detectors, and we walked around asking a lot of questions.
Is there anyone here?
We ascertained pretty quickly that the spirits were rather strong, and it would take a more coaxing for them to leave. The smudging process involves lighting a blaze, sweetgrass and sage, and then blowing that smoke into the corners of the room to touch every area of the home.
Anyone here with that?
As they smudged the house, one of the team took photographs.
Is there anyone here?
And a man's voice came out and said, yes. And it scared us. It was like, wow.
And the man's voice said, please go.
Please go.
Tina didn't see anybody, but one of her photographs she took, the mirror has a full picture of a man. The man in the mirror, he looks like a mortician, or like that era where they wore the hat and the jacket. That's who I see in there. The medium on the team said that two women that were in the home just loved the house. They wanted to stay there. They were no harm at all. But the man, he had to go. He wasn't very nice.
Those beings not of the light are not welcome in this home. It's time to move on.
She asked whatever beings were not of the light to please leave.
But the male spirit had no intention of leaving.
Those beings not of the light are not welcome in this home.
The team was successful crossing over the spirits. I cried the whole time.
After the house was cleansed, It was a completely different feeling in the house. It was fresher.
It's almost like a dream. And now it's over. We're back to being at ease and having a great family life.